to get the technician to think, here's all the problems with the system. So the AI program can prompt them to say, hey, we need to find the problems with the main problem. How does that impact the safety, the health, the design, the installation, the age and neglect? These are all a stack of problems that we have pre-wired. And then AI will give you the technical problem or the technical reason for the safety issue.
Welcome to the Home Service Hacks Podcast, the show for contractors who refuse to settle for average. Hosted by Bill Brown, licensed HVAC contractor, AI and automation expert, and founder of Service Titan Hacks Community. Each episode features real conversations with contractors, tech founders, and innovators who are reshaping the trades, from AI and automation to pricing, marketing, and management. If it's working in the field, you'll hear about it here. Let's get into it.
So I'm going to go back to 2012 when I started my HVAC business. And, like many contractors, I knew how to fix equipment. I knew how to service it, but I didn't know how to run a business, even though I thought I did. So 6 months into the business, my CPA said, you're getting a lot of customers, you're getting good reviews, but you're losing money. And if you don't change, you're going to go out of business. And one thing I found out real fast was I struggled with pricing. And I looked for different flat rate books and, menu pricing systems. But the flat rate book that I found was like $6,000 to get started with. And I didn't have that in my budget. And also, none of them really gave me the customization options that I felt like I needed. And then I discovered your system through a triple your sales challenge, I believe you ran back in the day, and really, really enjoyed and felt like it was on code for me with your approach to selling. And your system completely changed how I ran my company and put it on a trajectory of success. And so I remember selling my first option sheet that was over $1,000. That was like not a $900 circuit board, right? It was real service, and the customer was happy. The work I was able to do, I really enjoyed because I was rebuilding the whole outdoor system. And I think about how many employees' lives that I was able to make better, the employees and their families, because I learned your system. And then I think, what about, the big companies that you've had over the years? So there's been tens of thousands of people that have benefited from your coaching over the years. And so, it's a real honor to welcome you on the podcast, as you were a big key to my success.
Well, Bill, thank you so much. And of course, the day I met you, the easiest thing I ever did was fall in love with the way you approach business, which is you're a very discerning person, who doesn't just fall into traps easily. You're somebody who definitely, you do your research, you do your due diligence, and you listen for the smell of, I call it the ring of truth, if you will. If you can hear that ring of truth, and it speaks to you. And it was an honor to work with you and your brother Nathan, and to help build the Paramount team back in Columbus, Ohio, when you were, so it seems like a whole lifetime ago.
It really does.
It's like a different life. You were like and by the way, this guy, Bill Brown, he's astounded me every step of the way with his growth. And it's like, what's he doing now? He's moving to Florida. What's he doing now? He's got a Service Titan Hacks. And, and now you have also gone on to, I would call you a Pure Motive. I'm gonna give you the Pure Motive certification award today, Bill, because you definitely embody somebody who seeks to help someone first, to create value, and then of course there is an investment if people want to keep that going. But you're always willing to help somebody first, just like I am. I hope that did rub off on you. And together we're a dynamic duo. I think it's. I turn a lot of people over to you. It's like, who could do this? It was only one person. He's in the phone booth. His name is Bill Brown with Service Titan Hacks. He can figure it out for you. Make sense? That's what I always say. So.
I appreciate that. I really try. I mean, I really enjoy helping contractors have their business easier to run. I think the business today can be way too complicated. So I really like very simple things that make big impacts, right? And one thing I found was Service Titan was quite a mountain for contractors to climb up. And it was easy for me because of my background. So I figured, why not start a group and share some things I've learned? And it kind of went from there. And I really enjoyed it. But today you're the guest. So let's go. The listeners, I would be very surprised if they haven't heard of Uncle Joe Crisara at this time. For those listeners who don't know your story, can you share that aha moment that changed everything for you?
Yeah, well, there's quite a few people. The industry has churned. I don't know if you noticed that, but I was at that Pantheon conference. We didn't even have a chance. We were so busy, we didn't have a chance to see each other. But one thing I did realize is that there are a lot of new people in this industry who have entered into it. Every year, there's a churn, and I would say I was really surprised at how many people did not know me at all. So it was like one of those aha moments I had at the conference, honestly. So I definitely have some work to still do to get back here. That's why I'm here today, to try to get people familiar. But I did have an aha moment. I was suffering financially. I was putting my heart and soul, just like I do with ServiceMVP, and doing stuff for people to get started with it. But then I never really did get around to getting paid for my work, properly. I didn't know how to price the services, very similar to what you went through, Bill. And I wound up about $500,000 in debt about 5 years into the business. And then the aha moment I had, or the small big, if you will, that small thing that makes a big difference, was one of my clients. His name was Dave, and he goes, Joe, why are you always trying to save people money on your service? Why don't you just show them the most premium thing they could do first? And I'm like, Dave, nobody wants to spend any money. I was like, my mindset, Bill, was find what everybody else was charging and then charge a little bit less so I could get the job. I thought low bidder got the job was my philosophy, or sales philosophy at the time. I think a lot of us are just like, if you're the kind of person who looks for a good deal on something, that might be your philosophy too. You might have your mother in the truck, I call it. You have your family history. Our family grew up trying to save money on everything. So I thought naturally I was doing a good service to try to save people money by lowering the cost of the job. What I didn't, it was sitting right in front of me, that when you lower the cost, you also lower the quality of the job and the service that you provide too. So I didn't realize that until and they said, Joe, let me show you how to do the science of pricing. And then Dave sat down at the kitchen table, and we sat there for like 3 hours as he explained it to me. He was a pharmaceutical sales manager at a big pharmaceutical company that sells medications to doctors and whole health plans to doctors and stuff like that. And he showed me, he goes, yeah, there's a science. I went to Harvard University, he told me, and he showed me that. And he actually gave me some written material on it too. And the first time I even recognized there was people study this stuff. He goes, Joe, billions of dollars are put into this studies of this stuff. He goes, so why don't you just try it? And so he sat there and we made an option sheet together. I went on my very first call, just like you mentioned, and this was a call I normally would get $150, $125. And instead of $125, I got $1,250. The next call, I had a small little problem with a pump, and I normally would have replaced a part that cost $75. I wound up replacing all 3 pumps because they're all 20 years old and they were leaking oil. And I wound up, just for the pumps and the relay and the thermostats and everything, like $3,800. And I was selling the whole boiler for like $3,200 back then. So it astounded me, honestly. I was like, I can't believe how much profit I actually made and how happy both of the clients were. Extremely happy. So, who knows what would have happened if it didn't work on the first 2 calls. But it did. It worked on the very first 2 I had. And for that week, it worked very well. The whole week, I wound up selling like $14,000 and just on service calls. I didn't put it. Back then I was selling furnaces and ACs for like $1,500. So to get $14,000, it was like doing 8 installs. And I just did service calls. My total material was like $2,500, and I sold $14,000, and that is what's called profit. And I didn't probably the first time I had, but when the first time you experience a profitable week is like the clouds part, Bill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, I was
It
like,
does.
it's like, I don't even know how deep in the hole I am, 500,000 in the hole. I said, I don't give a crap about that. I know that this is the way, this is the ring of truth. And I think just like you experienced in your story, like, wow, that is a different way of doing it. It definitely works when you try it. It works if you work it. I always tell people it works if you work it, and you're worth it. Because
Right.
you're worth the price for the premium price, right? It works if you work
Sure.
it, but you have to feel like you're worth it for it to work. There's the mentality that it's not worth that kind of thing. And that's where you have to fight the internal. The biggest enemy we have, Bill, or the competitor, is right in the mirror, who is preventing ourselves from doing something like this. They're coming up with excuses as to why this won't work, when actually it does. So, makes sense?
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. And I think, I mean, for me, when I saw the options that you put together, there were things that you had in there that I had never even thought of doing. Right. So I had to kind of look at you had verbal packaging, which is great, explaining to the customer what things do rather than what they are. So, and how they benefit them. I really learned a lot about providing better service, and that gave me belief that I was worth it. If you don't provide better service, then the pure motive service, your process isn't going to work. A lot of people know about pure motive service, but for people hearing it for the first time, how can you describe it in simple terms?
Well, pure motive service is very definable. If you believe in providing, instead of a cheaper price, a higher quality of work, it's one of the first things that pure motive service is the belief that if you're going to do it. If you're going to do a job, let's do it permanently and let's do it right the first time. That's quality. Then reliability. Let's make sure if we do a quality job that it's got to stay fixed. It's got to stay reliable, more reliable than the other system we put in, right? Whatever we're working on has to be increase the reliability of the solution. Only way to do that is by doing more of it, not just cutting down corners. Safety of the family. It's like sometimes we say the word safety, but we have to take action. All these things we talk about: quality, reliability, safety. Not lip service, Bill, but real service to show people, hey, if I increase the size of that ductwork, it will not crack the heat exchanger. That would be safer.
Right.
It would be healthier if we did have the ducts sealed properly. We wouldn't be breathing fiberglass. That would be healthier. So we're going to seal that ductwork. We're going to put in a 5-inch media filter, which makes it safer. So we have a 1-inch filter cracking the heat exchanger with the restriction. Or if you're doing drain cleaning, we have to make sure we increase the size of the pipe, because right now we have black stuff coming up through the bathtub. That's not healthy or safe either, right? So we have to change that pipe so it doesn't keep letting biological growth come through the bathtub like that. That's not healthy or safe. And then finally, it's customer service, Bill. Customer service means to do things before we are asked. If you only do what people ask you to do, yeah, it's pretty crappy service. Like, you're putting the burden on the customer to come up with new ideas for you to do. Hey, let me give you some ideas of things I want you. Like, we don't need to give the customer that. Hey, let me make a job description for you at my house today. Does that mean, like, I'm going to slow it down with what you're asking? I just did what the customer said to do. It's like, what? The customer has to come up with your job description every time you go to their house? I was like, no. You have to have your own way. That like Apple computers, they don't ask people like, hey, what are people going to want? It's like they innovate it, and they come up with something that surprises people and what they want. And then they're like, whoa, I didn't know I need 3 cameras in the back of my phone.
Right.
Like if you had to wait for somebody to ask you to make, hey, let's wait for the consumer to see if they're going to ask us to make 3 cameras on the back of a phone so they can have a blurry background or whatever. Like they'd be waiting for a century for humans to come up with that innovation themselves. The smartest people who are here, the service. You're a plumber, you're an air conditioning guy, you're an electrician, you're a garage door guy. You should know what the next innovation for this client. You should be a designer of garage doors, a designer of electrical systems, a designer of heating, cooling, and plumbing. And you should be designing a system that fits this family better than they would know about because you're the expert. Does that make sense, Bill? That's
Yeah.
pure motive service. That's pure motive service in a heartbeat there. So that you
Mm-hmm.
did it for, and it's customized for the client, and that's
Right.
something that you're taking off the rack. Flat rate pricing is something that's not customized. You
Mm-hmm.
have to take that material and customize it yourself. That's not
Right.
something that nobody's going to do that for you. Make sense?
That makes sense. And one of the first things I remember from your coaching was offering options instead of just one choice. Well, not even a choice. It's either I gave the customer the do the work or send me home, right? That's all I gave them was when a capacitor was bad, here's your capacitor, $125. Not even asking for a sale or not. This is your only option. So can you tell me about the importance of offering those 6 options?
So it goes to the heart of pure motive service as well, which is believing in giving choices. Do you believe in freedom? I always ask people, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, of course I do. Well, why would you say that? Well, because right now you're only giving one choice. You're restricting people to the other things they could get because you're a door that stands in the way of the solutions that could be better. Instead, you need to be a window to show people possibilities. And listen, those things have always been true, Bill, but way before I was born or I was in this industry and before you were too. But I think what I'm good at doing is articulating those known facts, those the ring of truth, if you will, as like, yeah, I believe in freedom. Why am I restricting people? So when you have I got this technician who will never go for this stuff, Joe, and I said, well, does he believe in freedom? Well, yeah, he does. Well, then he's going to believe in this. But so you have to believe as an owner out there, all the people who own companies or all the people who are coworkers in a company, you have to believe in it first. I believe in choices. I believe in taking the extra time to make these premium mid-range economy to increase the quality, reliability, safety, health, and to offer a level of service that goes into the future, not just today. And I'd say that would be something you either believe in. And people ask me, Joe, I don't think the program. I think I'm going to get off the program because I don't think the program's working for our team. I said, what? Your team doesn't believe in quality? No, we do. You don't believe in reliability? I just go down the list and they're like, yeah, we believe in everything. I said, well, then I don't know why you're leaving. It must be me. They're like, no, it's not you. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's okay if you leave ServiceMVP, because you go on to other ventures like you did, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, once you hear what we do, you can't unhear it. Does that make sense? And I'm proud of all the other consultants like Tommy Mello and Brian Burton and just, tons and tons of people who have been influenced by the work we do. And now I have to make sure I'm still stay relevant by being part of their success, hopefully, because I can also stay relevant myself here again. So I never take anything for granted, even though I think we're the originator of a lot of this material brought to the industry. It's always been here, but I think I'm the messenger in a way. I still have to be to stay relevant and customized to my clients. I have to make sure I am supporting those people too, and people like you as well, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So, over the years, you've coached thousands of contractors. What is one of the common mistakes that you see in companies, like specifically on a service or sales call? What's something that you see that comes up again and again?
I think just not listening. I think so focused on an agenda that some best practice group gave you, or even us, right? But you're so focused on the process that you forget you're actually got people in the room with you. It makes sense?
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, let me put my booties on. Let me, it's like, that's not bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't stay focused on following a process is good, but people are more important than the process. So I think the biggest mistake is that you got plenty of time to do the process. You don't have to without the customer being involved. I think so. I think people don't listen enough or involve the client enough in the process of what they're doing. I think the process becomes something about the booties or the pricing app or Service Titan or their truck. It's parked in the right place, or we're talking about things like that. And I think people are more important than things. So the second you start putting the equipment, the problem, the solution, the truck, the stock, your business. Here's a brochure about my business. That cannot be first. The first thing has to be, let me hear about your family. How long have you owned this house? And what made you come to this neighborhood? What inspired, this is a beautiful home. What inspired you to move here in this area? Are you from this area? Yeah. How many people use the system? Like the people, right? So we lose track of it. I think the biggest mistake in the home service, in the home, but by the way, I think it also is true in business too. I think, hey, I got to get the software. I got to get the trucks. Hey, don't forget, you got a bunch of people coming in today, and they need to be seen and heard, and have the emotional connection with their boss and their owner. And listen, both you and I, Bill, I know you can see times to me like, I think Joe's getting away from his people too much. And I said the same thing about you. I'm like, Bill's got it. He's so busy with the extra stuff he's doing in the back end. He lost track of his people. And then, so I remember we helped each other bridge that gap. You reminded me that, Joe, remember, you got the people you're dealing with. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. And then you, too, trying to get all the software and stuff like that done right. And it's so, I think we've all made this mistake. So it's something that I'm not putting on everybody else. This is my problem just as much as it is Bill Brown's than it is anybody else. We all start moving toward the things rather than the people who are right in front of us. I think people are primary, and then the things fit around. Like the big rocks are the people who are working at our company and the people we're serving. Everything else is like the sand that fits around the rocks, the mortar that fits around the rocks. Make sense?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's kind of how I've seen tools over the years. Like the software ideally is supposed to be an aid, be a tool to help the people. It's not the primary objective. And yeah, I mean, there's been times where an extended time where I've sat in my office playing around with Service Titan or playing around with Zapier while, employees come through the shop and I don't even talk to them. And there could be so much connection that I make with them and things that I learn about them, and maybe even things more impactful than getting a Zap to work by engaging with my internal customers, the employees. And that's right. I mean, you see these processes that best practice groups have, and it ends up being a checklist, and you kind of dominate the call and just go, I got to do this first. I got to do that second. I remember walking into a house and I put my booties on, or floor savers or whatever they called them. And I'd have a customer go, no, you don't need to put those on. And I'd be like, oh no, I'm not following the process. Almost like I was using a troubleshooting chart on a furnace, right? And now it just blew me up. I couldn't do anything else because the second thing I was supposed to do just stopped me in my tracks. And so those processes didn't have any flexibility, didn't allow me to establish a relationship at all. So I get what you're saying about not, listening to what the customer says. And,
well, I think that's the service MVP difference, Bill, right? Somebody tries to stop the process. You have to have a people reason why we need to do this still. So when the customer says, don't put, it's okay, you don't have to put the booties on, that's okay. I'm going to do it anyway because we do this to respect your house, John, to make sure that we show your house respect. And you never know what might be on the bottom of my feet. I just walked down your driveway and I saw some oil stains there. So I will make sure I bring that into your white carpet here. So let me go ahead and just do it anyway, even if I don't have to do it. So there's a lot of things the client says you don't have to do. But I do believe in honoring the process. But the reason the process exists is because of the people in the home or the people we're serving. And it's just like, and actually it's just like when you do the Service Titan hacks. It's, hey, we need to work out this process in Service Titan because this will make it easier for your people to find whatever they're looking for in Service Titan or to be able to do the call. Like we're going to go ahead and fix that dispatch board because it'll make it easier for the dispatcher. It'll make it easier for the technician to focus on his job if we do that right. So everything you do today is a reflection of what I do. Honestly, it's just done. We're both working for people, Bill. We're not working for. We sometimes can get lost a little bit into it, but we have to say, hey, take a step back and make sure that we realize that this is being done for somebody, not just for the glory of Joe Crisara or Bill Brown. It's got to be done. We do. It does make us look pretty smart when we do something really good for people. but I think that's not the reason. That's not my motivation. My motivation is to help others. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So, the big buzzword today is AI and everything. And I know that you've been adopting that technology for a while now, especially, and I see a lot of AI technology working in the back office and working on the phones and customer service, but not a lot of it is for the technicians in the field. From what I've seen, you have Rilla Voice that does the after call coaching and things like that. Can you kind of tell me what things you're working on now that are AI based that are going to help the technicians provide better service?
Yeah, I think it's really for two people. The reason for the AI solution we have called OptionBuilder.ai. If you look it up, that's the address you can go to look that up. Is made for people, right? Because the hardest thing, as you know, to make those premium, mid-range, and economy choices, and also to list. I always say, Bill, you have to have as many problems when you make those prices as you do the solutions. Because if you just have a lot of solutions and you're only trying to solve one little problem, like the problem I had with the coupler on the pump, it wasn't the only problem. The problem was oil leaking from the motor, and the control boards, relays were fried as well. The conductors were brittle, and there was things that were just unsafe and unhealthy in that situation. So those additional things, the stack of they call it the problem stack. You've heard about the value stack, right? That's a common term that all the younger people than me, I learned it from. Like, oh, that's a cool term, value stack. I said, you know what? You need to have a problem stack, because if you're trying to present a solution stack without a problem stack, the solution stack is like, why the hell are you trying to sell me all these solutions that I don't need? So to get the technician to think, here's all the problems with the system. So the AI program can prompt them to say, hey, we need to find the problems with the main problem. How does that impact the safety, the health, the design, the installation, the age and neglect? These are all a stack of problems that we have pre-wired, and it's got to have discipline to make sure you do it every time, right? You can't just I forgot three of them. The program we have, it has that hardwired into it, and then AI will give you the technical problem or the technical reason for the safety issue, the technical health issue, the technical design issue. So it'll give you that, but it also gives you the emotional impact that it has on the client. So it does both the problem and the people. The only program, listen, and people say, Joe, your program is going to be copied by somebody in about 48 hours if they see it. I said, I don't think so. I said, because they would have to take 40 years of experience and try to put that into a box and say, only if they had all my material to do that, they could do it, I guess. Yeah. But you know what? I got to get there. I'm trying to get there first so that, if it is copied, they'll know it was copied from here, and then they can always go, why don't we just go to the original? Nobody wants to buy a fake Fendi purse. They want to buy the real one, right? So that's it. So I think it's number one, creates a stack of problems that go with the main problem. That the young, it teaches young technicians like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, right. But like even you told me things I didn't know you had. And so the program itself has to teach the technician, here's the problem beyond the problem. So it does that. And then it creates solution. Here's the solution beyond the main problem that are going to solve all the safety, health, quality, reliability issues and all the rest of it there, right? And so the program does that because, Nathan Brown, your brother, he was one of the first willing participants at your company. He was like, I'm going to do this. And he did it, and it worked. He killed it with it. And of course, but it was hard. He's like, you do know Bill is good. He told you, he's like, yeah, it's okay, but it's going to take me like an hour to write all that stuff up, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, it takes an extra hour to write it all up, honestly. And so it is worth it because the job will make 5 times more than it would have before. But it's hard to get people to pump the brakes and say, you know what? Now the program does all that in about 10 seconds. And so what would have taken an hour, the output can now be done in 10 seconds. And you know what, Bill, you're part of it in a way. You don't even realize that. You helped us with our pricing. Bill Brown himself, I hired him I think 2 years ago, maybe it was. Could you come in and rework this flat rate pricing? We had a file that we had from the 90s. He helped us modernize it and reorganize it and put it into a better process. So you were part of that. And he was like, let's put that flat rate file in there, so that flat rate file comes with the program too. So you don't got to buy flat rate pricing; it just comes with it. So it makes the options, the problems, it makes the solutions, the personal impact of the problem, the personal impact of the solution is wired into it, and then the warranty and service is in there with the monthly payment, the financing, and everything like that. And it does it in only 2 prompts. It doesn't. You don't have to go through a long series of stuff. It's like, who are the customers? Give me a little lifestyle. Single, married, kids. That's all I need. And what's the other part? Here's a bad igniter. Here's a bad fan motor. Customer wants an estimate on a furnace. It's 40-year-old furnace or whatever. It could be a very minimal prompt, and it comes up with complex problems and solutions. And then you could edit that too. You can reprompt it or edit it to do it well. And it's connected to a flat rate so we're getting it connected to PriceBook Pro and Service Titan.
Okay.
As well as our thing as well. So it is accurate. It's not just like hallucinating about where the prices are coming from. It comes from you're putting the prices in there or using our prices. So it does give you a solid flat rate price with the hours that can be changed up or down before you price it out. So it makes the pricing process ridiculously easy. And there's a lot of good programs out there that do pricing, but I think they're using a 1990s model and trying to copy some of what we do. Unfortunately, it still turns into too much model number, serial number, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Not enough about the client. So that's what it does. And I only built it because I wanted our team to have it easier, my people, to teach this easier. And then I realized that, why don't we just give this to the contractor? Why don't they have it too?
Oh, right. So it was the teacher's edition, right? And then
it was. We only did it for the people who were going to teach it. We're like, we need our coaches to have a tool to teach this better. And then we did it. And we're like, and then what people are like, yeah, I showed this to one of the guys. Like, how can I get that? And I'm like, oh, you think people would buy it? And it's like, hell yeah, people would buy it actually. So that's where kind of the metamorphosis there of that. It wasn't designed to sell it to people. It was designed to help people first, and then people found value and they started buying. And now we have over 150 kind of beta users on it right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. That would have been so great to have back in the day, because that's so difficult to do. So now you can spend your time. You're right. It took a long time to put together options, because you could be there talking to a customer for an hour and a half to gather all that information and to put those options together. Very, very challenging. And every employee I hired, I had to kind of start over, and we had to teach a whole new way of looking at things. And, when I started, even though I thought I was a good technician, there were so many things that you taught me to check and options to provide that I didn't even really know existed. Right. The only time I would ever change the terminals on a capacitor is if they were burned up and I couldn't plug the new capacitor in. Never offered a better capacitor, just whatever I had in the truck. Didn't even think about that stuff. So it's just a whole different way of thinking, and they don't teach that in school, in trade school. It's very basic. So the company's culture has to really adopt that. So I think it's very helpful.
I think in the trade school, they just teach part for part, not that you can design a better one. Like a 440 capacitor is heavy dutier than a 370. A variable speed motor would be quieter than a normal motor. So you can actually increase the quality. Instead of a single pole contactor in the outdoor unit, you can actually do a 2-pole would be better, right? And or a higher amperage of that one could be a heavier duty or more quality. I was the first one who said, hey, you should put 50 amp contactor in an outdoor unit.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, does that work? It's like you just put it in there because you got an old unit that's conducting a higher amperage. You should do a higher, like, I never thought of that. Like you said, it's all that's what I'm proud of, is bringing solutions to people that they wouldn't, it's right in front of us, honestly, but they just didn't think of that they could do that, honestly. And it's right there in front of you, though. Makes sense.
I really enjoyed it too, because it was fun to find new solutions, right? So when a new contactor came out, when Emerson made the Sure Switch contactor, I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. Now I can offer it. And sometimes I think my employees got a little annoyed by all of the new solutions I had for them, and they're like, oh, here's Bill coming with another one. How many different hard start kits are you going to try, Bill? I'm like, I'm looking for the best here. So it was always a good time, you know? So is this, OptionBuilder AI, is it ready today, or are you still beta testing it?
No, it is ready already. We have people who are purchasing it, although we are very selective because it's so we're not opening it up to mass audiences. We're definitely doing kind of qualifying people who understand what we're doing with this thing, because it's a teaching tool that can actually help your people teach how to do it. But you do have to have some education. The cool part about it is we're including some education, like some videos and stuff that we do normally with the other stuff into it. So that's what's going to happen with Service Titan and their Field Pro Service MVP edition. They're doing for the first time ever, which is to have our videos, as well as the AI option builder, as well as the benchmarks, so that the AI solution they have, because imagine this, Bill, imagine the Service Pro or Field Pro is listening to the customer, listening to the technician, and already making the options as the guy's. He just diagnoses out loud by himself. He whispers into his iPad that bad contactor, wires are fractured. Contactor capacitor is not measuring full microfarads. So he just says it out loud, and it makes the solutions before he even has to write them. It just does it. That's the aspiration, is that as you're going to the call, listening to the client, listening to a technician, the prices would be created without any effort. It would automatically take that data and create those options. Like we're living in the future, Bill.
That is the future. That's one of the things that you had us do a while back was to record our calls so that we could actually know what happened on a call. It was before that happened, I would ask technicians, so what happened on the call? And they would give you like a 30-second rundown of it, and it's like, you were there for an hour and a half. Well, what did the customer say? And what you found out was the actual recording of the call was much different than how it actually went in their mind, right?
Yeah.
And we learned a lot, but it took forever to listen to those recordings. And now AI is amazing. It can do that.
Yeah, I think it's cool that it sums it all up, and the summary, and the fact that it can find, what you were trained to do versus what actually happened, and compare the two. That is why Rilla, who I originally worked with, and now Field Pro, which is going to have in Service Titan, which was part of Zero, which then became Sales Pro, and now it's going to be Field Pro. So it's like anything else. It's a diagnostic tool that gets down to the chase easily. Now, there was a time when we used to diagnose compressors. We had to have like 3 or 4 different tests before you could just say the compressor was bad. Now there's it's the tool that can tell you immediately if that thing is bad, right? So but back then we'd have to do it manually. There was no first check this and then check that and then check this, 4 or 5 tests before you could really say the compressor was bad, because you don't want to go around just diagnosing bad compressors. So the same thing with heat exchangers. I think it's cracked, and it's no, now you have a camera that can go on your cell phone that can show people the crack or the fractures. So there's so many things that are the development. What a great time to be alive, Bill. Honestly,
Hmm.
right? That we saw what it was like before, and we see what it's like now, and we're part of those one of the unique people, unicorns, if I will say that we're able to compare the old way versus the new way, and
Hmm.
then definitely in the new way. There's never been a time in history when people have more tools to
Hmm.
do everything the right way, not just put it out the burden on the individual. Make sense, sir?
Right. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And, you know, over the years, there's been, gosh, and I look back at ACHR news magazines from the 80s, and there's articles that talk about how difficult it is to find technicians. And, you know, you probably went through that. I went through that. And I think that all these tools are making it much easier for technicians to be successful earlier in their career. And I see with the whole AI and the disruption of white collar jobs, I feel a lot of technicians are going to come into this industry that would have never even thought about it. And they're going to have the best tools to be able to learn. So I'm really excited. I believe that the industry is just going to explode with opportunities for new talent like we've never had before.
Yeah, I think there's some problems that have always been in history, like how do I find a good technician, right?
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
everybody realized that you're not going to find a good technician. You have to build a good technician. How am I going to
Yeah.
build a good technician? Now, with AI, so now the new methodology is find somebody who's really good, who's got a good personality, who's enthusiastic, who takes responsibility. Using AI tools is to be much easier to cast the net to find that person who doesn't have necessarily the experience, somebody who's worthy of giving the time to train, right? That's really what
Hmm.
you're looking for here. So, I mean, good luck if you're trying to do that on your own. I think you do need AI to help
Hmm.
you filter through those applications or through those, listen to the interview and give you feedback. Not just interview the call or listen to the call. You should listen to the job interview that you're doing with the person and have it sum it up for you. What are you hearing? Do you hear responsibility? Do you hear enthusiasm? Because you are desperate for an employee. You hear
Hmm.
everything. You're like, I want this guy to start next week. But you need somebody who oversees it. That's where AI can help as that assistant to listen to that interview you just did to see if it is right. And then
Yeah.
AI can help provide technology. And listen to, you send him on a call. There's never been a faster time to fast track a guy like that, because
Right.
now he can go on a call with 2 weeks of training. Let's do a tune-up and teach you in 2 weeks how to do a tune-up. Let's do it. And then you can guide them using technology by watching. And now they have instant transcription, which you can literally see what people are saying as it's happening. And then you can look at the option sheet using our tool again and
Hmm.
see what's going on. You could build it for the technician. You can listen to how he's presenting it. You could step in and help the technician. Call by call management, which is now a part of the mainstream, I would say. So,
Hmm.
there's never been a better time to. Although it's hard to find, it's still like it always has been
Right.
hard to find good people, but it's never been easier with the current tools we have and the things that you do, Bill, too, with the Service Titan hacks and all the different things you do to make everybody's life easier with Service Titan. Never been a time to find it easier to onboard somebody and make them productive within about 30 days. You got somebody who could be very productive,
Right.
who could be on a track to bring $1 million to your company when a month ago they weren't even part of the company. And it's astounding, honestly, that somebody could do that now,
100%. And it's really great for them too, because nobody wants to, none of these technicians want to come in fresh and go up to bat and strike out for 6 months, right? And they have to learn the customer service side of it and the technical side of it. And part of that is building the options, listening to the customer. We ask service technicians to do a lot. I really believe we do. And I think that, and I know that this is going to be so much better for them. So I'm excited to see how many new guys are going to get into our industry over the next few years. I think it's just going to explode.
I think there's a lot of, the media is all, everybody pushes the 4-year education.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has turned now. I don't think you can now say that everybody, like with Charlie Kirk said that the universities are a scam, which I don't think I would go that far, but I would say there is other options beside a university that can fast track you on a career to make more money. I think this has now been completely identified. It's not like, oh, that's crazy. Like, no, I think it is. Everybody knows it now. It's not the cat's out of the bag. The potential employee, when he's just thinking about the options they have for their future, say, do I want to fast track myself and make $200,000 by doing plumbing or heating and air conditioning or electrical, or I wanted to go for 4 years and see what happens there. The 4-year education now is riskier than it is to get into the trades because. Now, keep in mind, the trades used to take 4 or 5 years to apprentice somebody. Now it's like, hey, it's like you can get it. It's like if UCLA medical team hires a nurse, sure, they're going to give her training and make her go to school for that. But they're also going to say, let's intern her. Let me pay you to also, clean up the bandages and all the stuff a nurse's assistant would do. And then you become a nurse, and then you become a medical technician, and then you become, maybe you get your doctorate degree, and you wind up, so it does take them. I think with AI, we're able to fast track both in the medical industry and in the service industry, people who will be productive doctors or doctors of heating and air conditioning or plumbing, electrical. I think that doctorate degree is rapidly faster track than it would be to wait, because people today are not going to wait 4 years to get that kind of a thing. If they're both a 4-year situation, I don't think young people are going to wait for that. I think they're going to go on to something else, like start a YouTube channel or something like that and try and make money that way. So you have to have. It's imperative that every company today has a fast track to get from where you're starting to $100,000 yearly income within the first year. Honestly, you have to be able to say, we need a fast track so we can say at the end of the year, you're on track to make $100,000. At the end of next year, $150,000. And next year, $200,000. And wherever it goes from there, who knows how much it would be in the future? Because there's so many solutions, Bill, that are out there that people need to purchase and update and modernize, that it literally astounds me, honestly.
Yeah, and I think maybe COVID brought that out a little bit, right? As being an essential business, I think that it finally was the tipping point for people looking for jobs in our industry, and then now people are graduating with 4-year degrees that are really, really struggling to find work and have $50,000 in debt. So it's super attractive. I mean, my son is 14 years old now. You probably remember when he was 2 years old, right? And I said, he's not the greatest in academics. He doesn't really enjoy it. He has a YouTube channel that he has 115,000 subscribers, which is kind of crazy. You're talking about the YouTube, but I said, look, junior year at high school, you're going to learn a trade. And it's going to be either plumbing or heating and air conditioning. And he wants to do plumbing instead. So I get it. Even though dad did HVAC, plumbing is
the guy who cuts my who cuts my hair, his son is making $500,000. He's still in high school. He's still a junior he's going to be going into being a junior this year in high school. He's making $500,000 a year on his YouTube channel. And this guy owns like several different hair salons in Los Angeles. He's pretty successful with real estate and everything like that. He goes, my son actually makes more money on his cash flow than I'm making. I'm pretty successul. I got buildings and I got salons, but I'm not making as much as he is. He's making that money cash, free of any other overhead other than his own talent on the YouTube channel. And describing video games. He's not. It's not even a product.
That's what he does. He describes video games.
He's on there and describes the video games. He goes through it, and he's pretty amazing. He's got a big following. He's French. So he has a little bit of an advantage there, a little bit of a French accent too. So he's got that going for him. But nonetheless, it's actually astounding. And like you said, if your son's got 114, imagine what he's going to have when he's 30. He'll probably have 1.4 million or 10 million or whatever. He'll probably have. Who knows?
It is wild. It's a whole different experience, whole different thing. I never, you asked me about this 10 years ago. I'm like, what people would make money just having a YouTube channel and talking about video games? Really? But hey, that's it's big time today. I'm going to rewind a little bit of something that was came up in my business multiple times that was a issue for me, but it wasn't an issue for me when I first started it. One of the things that is service versus replacement when it comes to HVAC sales, right? And one thing that you taught me was never to push a system replacement. And a lot of the employees that I brought over the years, that was kind of their agenda. And I had to try to break them from that, where they would go in, and if the system was 10 years old, regardless of the condition, it needs a new one, a new system. And they believed that a customer would not spend $2,000-$3,000 on IAQ upgrades, restoration of their system, deep cleaning of it, and then buy a new one a couple of years down the line. And I proved to my guys, this has happened many times, all the way through when I was doing service. Look at these option sheets where customers would rebuild their entire system. It would buy them a few years and they'd have a warranty. It'd be worry free. And then they'd spend $15,000, $20,000 on a replacement. So do you see that as still an issue today with some of the contractors' way of thinking of, pushing systems?
I don't, for most actual contractors, I would say no, but here's what I would say. There's a movement by a lot of social media influencers. There's younger people out there who are instructing people that, 90% of your mix should be replacement, and you should turn all service leads are just a replacement lead. And I do actually fix companies like that, because what happens is that everything becomes a replacement. They'd be like a football team throwing a 40-yard pass every play, pretty much, and every now and then you complete one, and you might even score 21 points or whatever. But you'd have a shitload of interceptions, and you'd have a lot of incomplete passes, and you'd be turning the ball over to the other team's offense quicker. So the bottom line is that I think that there's no place in a service business where you can afford it to be a charity or just some way to turn leads over to something bigger. Like you can't give the service team a pass on the revenue they need to make. Make sense? So if you don't sell equipment, you have to be able to get the job fixed and still do that. So I say yes, but I would say the vast majority of the industry now does the opposite. They do too much fixing too. So the older school is 90% fix, and every now and then, by accident, it gets a replacement. I think the other extreme is go out there to just replace it. Just your only job is to flip a lead, they call it. Just flip it. That's all you're going to do. I don't want to hear anything else. Don't fix it. Just flip it. Yeah, so they're literally taught no fixing, flipping. The other one is, what are you talking about? Just fix it. But there's something in the middle, Bill, where you go through it to be able to fix it and give it your best effort to fix it. But then you look at it like, what's the age of the system? So I'm going to put what? On a heat exchanger is bad? I'm going to put like $16,000 into this old furnace to put the heat exchanger, inducer motor, and all the things that would be needed to get it back to brand new again. It's going to be like $14,000 to do all that. So that now makes sense to get So I think the consumer themselves, if given the choice properly to say, Joe, we can fix this system, but it would be a lot of money you're going to put into something that's 22 years old or 16 years old, or it was designed wrong too. Somebody put the wrong size in. Now we could fix it, but it's still the wrong size, or it's too big or too small, or the ductwork's leaking, it's damaged it. It's been damaged, it's old, it's new. It doesn't make a difference. If there's a time when not just old equipment, could be new equipment that was undersized or oversized or damaged by duct leakage or something like that, right? So your job as the technician is to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do the repair options to show people what it would take. to get the whole situation fixed. Not just the furnace, but the ductwork that goes with it to replace or clean or seal, or maybe even eliminate the ductwork sometimes. So I'm going to give the price on that to try to work with the old system, to show them what it would be to fix the old system. That is very instrumental in a customer saying, wow, if I'm going to put that kind of money into it, shouldn't we just replace it? And then the technician should say, you know what? We actually have those options too. I thought you might. I was going to suggest that to you. I want to make sure you're okay with that. So we have two ways of doing it. So if you're smart, a balanced technician or balanced company would have both things available to the consumer. That's really where the OptionBuilder AI does come in, because you can do that in 10 seconds to have the replacement and the repair options. So you have both ready to go, or you can call your comfort advisor or your solution specialist, and he would have those ready to go on the replacement. But here's the key thing: when you go to the client, Bill, you have to have both things ready to go. Not just but don't scramble to start making replacement options at the time. Have the repair. If you see the repair is getting to be up there, like, man, we're going to put 5,000 into this piece of junk. You know it, and I know it. It's like, it's still got a good heat exchanger. The compressor's not bad, but it's a piece of junk. Look at it. The thing's falling apart. The conductors. There's so many things other than the heat exchanger compressor are wrong. I should make an option sheet to replace everything as well. And that's been the hard thing. That's really where I really think, and actually, Bill, you were one of the people when we did the flat rate pricing, when you fixed that for me, you also said, we could do something with the options too. And I was like, yeah, but I had to look at because we said, we have a development team. So you kind of say, oh, why aren't we doing that? That's true. And I think that the instant that AI can now create these things for you, you have to take advantage of that. You can't see I got to scramble. So a balanced team, I would say probably 40% of the things should be repair and maybe 60% replacement. It could be 30-70. It depends on what area you live in, because sometimes areas have done a lot of replacement, and you may not have a lot left over. You may have already cut a swath into the neighborhood, and they've already got new systems that are less than 5 years old. A new community with new housing and stuff like that. That can still be replacement, but not probably as many as an old area where it is kind of falling apart. Make sense? So I would say a good. I don't believe there's actually consultants who told me the first thing I do when I get a hold of one of your companies, that private equity is part of this. The first thing I do is tell them to get rid of the warranties, get rid of the service, just do the replacement, just do the flip. I want to get 90% of them to be flipped. He literally told me at Pantheon, I go in and tell people I can get 90% of those jobs to be flipped into replacement. And I'm like, well, that's good for you. That's not good for the consumer. I didn't tell him that. I'm like, well, that's good. I'm glad you found a way to do that. I think it's absurd to say that every time we go out there, 90% of them are going to flip into a lead. I think it's good. It's got to be let the customer have the freedom to choose which way they want to go. Why are we trying to determine which way they should do that, Bill? Make sense?
And they're just extracting the maximum revenue out of that customer that they can right then and there, and maybe trying to flip the company, right? So they can bump that revenue up. And you said that, 40, 60, 30, 70, when my company had the highest profitability, we were at 30, 70. And what was nice is we always had a good pipeline of customers that needed replacements, because we would have a lot longer cycle to get customer lifetime value, because we would do service at the very beginning. And another thing that I found was, customers call you out for replacement options, for repair options, not for replacement options. And they're much happier when you give them that. So going back to your AI, I really love that it's able to put the repair and replacement options together that quickly, because again, that's not a very easy thing to do. It takes some skill to put that together. Now,
and using the same data, Bill, you don't got to input the data twice. It uses original people information and problem information to create both the problems and solutions, both on the repair and the replacement. So you don't kind of double entry it. A salesperson can come into that call and do a lead turnover and have all the information at their fingertips because it was given to them the first time by the technician. So I think even in the future, a lot of people are doing sales calls now, Bill, where the technician goes out there and just does all this anyway, and then flips that lead. Even in estimates are being done by the technician, who flips the lead to the knowing it's going to be flipped. There's no repair needed. They're looking for an estimate, but the technician goes out there first, diagnoses everything, gives it to the salesperson. That's a good way to fast track a salesperson too, because now they don't have to be technical. You can have a technician do the technical part of it. They just present the problems and solutions in a way that they learn from the technician. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Do you see a lot of companies today adopting the model of the technician sells the repairs and also can sell the equipment, or is it something where they're still using the Comfort Advisor model? What do you see kind of bubbling up?
I think it's moving away from that. For years, I was tagged as somebody who creates sales technicians who sell equipment and repairs. Honestly, I let anybody who wants to sell. If you can do both things, you're like, Shohei Ohtani. You can. You can hit and then you can pitch too. I'm going to let you do it. I'm not going to stand in the way of a talented person who's like a unicorn who could do everything, right? But I will say that for the most part, I would say it's a healthier mix to just focus on the repair for one person and then another person does the replacement. I really feel that's a healthier way. It's more realistic. You can't scale Shohei Ohtani. You got one of them, right?
Sure.
But so if you're trying to get bigger, you got to make sure you have a sales team and a service team but both teams got to work together, Bill. They're not two teams, which a lot of people make a mistake. They create a sales team like it's a different company and a service team like it's a different company. Those two things are part of the same group and they're on the same strategic element, which is find a repair, offer the repair, and tell your Comfort Advisor to I have the replacement ready for you. It's over here. You got to present this to me. You could do it via Zoom. I think that the movement is right now the salespeople selling everything on Zoom, not going out to the house with a truck anymore. I think that's you're lurking in the past if your salespeople are not presenting on Zoom or on Microsoft Teams or something like that.
Sure.
Something where you can share a screen and then put it on the technician's iPad and show the customer instantly. Because, Bill, when you ask a consumer, hey, do you want the salesperson to come out tonight to talk to you and Laura? Or do you want him to give you a link right now so you guys can both get the price immediately? What would you prefer? Yeah. The customer always is like, I have a company in Texas. They're like, Joe, nobody wants to hear it on Zoom. We need to go out there and drive in traffic and everything like that. And I said, why don't you give the customer a choice? Sure. And sure enough, they call me back 2 weeks later and go, you know what, Joe? Nobody is choosing to have us come out there. They want to do it on Zoom. So literally the company changed overnight. There was John Wayne Service Company in San Antonio. They were literally in a week. This was back in 2021. They go, I guess we need to learn how to do that virtual thing now because of the pandemic. And so they did, and it instantly changed everything. Now all their estimates are done via Zoom. There's no people running around. The salespeople do not run around out there. The service people still go out there and do stuff with the truck. But look how much money you save on trucks. Look how much money you're saving on the vehicles and all that. And then think about how you can fast track a salesperson who wasn't doing anything in this business. And then again, 30 days later, he's presenting systems and selling them just because he's a good salesperson. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything that you've built that helps with that as far as those virtual visits go? Or is it strictly just using something like a Microsoft Teams or Zoom that guys are doing?
Yeah, there's it is going to be in the OptionBuilder AI. It is going to have both a repair replacement option. I think we do have a thing where the Zoom or some kind of a video conferencing will be built into it in the next year, so that it can instantly be getting that You can call the guy, bring him into it, and do it that way too. It's on the drawing board. But again, us humans can't work as fast as AI, unfortunately. So to get all the coding and the programming right still, it's still there. But I do think the future would be solutions that can instantly bring the sales person or your boss or somebody into the. Here's what I think, Bill. It's like when you're about to lose the call, bring in your leader or your owner or somebody to help try to get this thing closed. Because if you lose this job, you're losing a client for life. You're not just losing them for this call.
Yeah, you are. They're buying from someone else.
Right? Yeah. Well, once they do that, you're done. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we used to call them, flops. So I said, if you push a customer to a replacement, or if you do all those things incorrectly, like you're talking about, you're going to get a flop. And I found out, I went back and looked at permits, and found out most of these customers, even ones we've had for a long time, if we told them they must get a system replacement, they weren't ready for it, they didn't ask for it, a lot of times they would send us packing and buy from our competitor. And that was really, really frustrating to see that happen. So you flip 90% of your service calls to salespeople, but how many of the times do those customers actually buy from the salespeople, right? If you set it up really well, the way that you teach, the way that ServiceMVP teaches, that close rate's going to be extremely high because the customer is asking for it.
By the time we qualify by, I call give it back, like, hey, we can fix this. Are you sure you want to replace it? So we can fix it or replace it. What should we do? And they go, I think I want to replace it. I just say, are you sure? Because we can still fix it. And then the customer goes, no, I want to replace it. All right, so if I do call my comfort advisor, Nathan, and he's able to show you a replacement that's affordable, what would happen? Yeah, I want to get this replaced. All right, let me call him in. So now it's been sold before you. So if you do it that way, instead of just, I recommend you replace this thing, which is the wrong way, honestly. Letting the customer choose the repair or replacement by giving them that choice. And number two, making sure they're committed before you turn it over to your comfort advisor. You're going to have a 96% conversion rate when you do give that presentation. If you do the other way, 90% of your service calls going to a flip, I would say you're going to be down to 55% losing the job. You still sell some. It'll be enough to, let's put it this way. You sell three $30,000 jobs in a week. That's $90,000. That's not bad. But you lost like 6 of them. Does that make sense? Yeah. And those 6 people aren't just losing. They're talking shit about you that these guys tried to force me to buy a new furnace or whatever. And it doesn't become, you're going to get some 5-star reviews from the people who bought and everything like that. But you're going to get a lot of bad reviews from the people who didn't buy, and it can be disastrous. Does that make sense, Bill? Yeah.
And I've seen it. You're right on with that 55 to 65% close rate. If you push that 90% turnover, when my company was doing that, I was operating the company remotely. We were at a 58% close rate on that. And before we were at 90 plus when we were following your system. And so those numbers are real. That's what I experienced too. And we had much happier customers because I've always believed that customers, ultimately at the end of the day, vote with their wallet. And when they decide to make a purchase with us, then we did everything right at that point. And 58% was just, it was pretty brutal for me to see those numbers.
I think there's a willing gaslighting of the industry that's going on. I think the manufacturers obviously love the fact that there's somebody trying to get 90% of these service calls to flip. They would never publicly admit it, honestly, because they would not want to be the one who's saying you should replace your equipment instead of fixing it. However, they do benefit from it, and they do. And then, the people who are going to this thing where 90% have to flip are benefiting too, because it takes a company who never sold any flips, and now you're doing some of these. It's like it does look very successful.
So what's coming down the line next for ServiceMVP? What do you see on your roadmap?
I think the AI solution is something that is just undoubtedly going to be here, especially the AI that can actually talk to you. So I can imagine somebody logging in the next year to ServiceMVP, and an AI person would say, "Welcome, John, to ServiceMVP. Would you like to get started with a class, or would you like to just go through our library?" And it would literally tell you that, "Yeah, I'm interested in doing this. Here, let me suggest these videos." And then at the end of the video, "All right, John, let's go ahead and let me ask you a few questions about what you've seen here today. Let's go. Should I do that, or you want to take it? You want to do this testing in writing, or you want to get tested? Can I ask you a few questions or whatever?" So I can imagine an AI assistant actively suggesting videos or telling you the track you need, because it is a lot. We have a library that is overwhelming, honestly. That's one of the biggest challenge of Service MVP is the tremendous amount of content we have. And then where do I start? And
Customizing the training.
You've experienced that yourself, right? It's like when we had Contractor selling, it was like, oh my God, it's like I didn't want to hide the information from people, so I did upload everything. However, finding what you needed was frankly a biatch. You know, it was,
and you would find things 6 months into the program where you're like, oh man, I wish I would have found that before. But you had, thousands of articles of material, right?
So I think the training is still valid, and I think it's going to be the videos, and that, of course, who knows how videos will be played in the future. You know, whether MP4 or some other, like everything turns into a GIF in a way. Like I can imagine. I'm just imagining that. I don't think we'll have MP4 files. I think it'll be like your photograph will turn into a video or whatever, and it'll just be like, I'm not sure what you're going to call that, but nonetheless, it'll be something that'll be more scalable without taking up as much bandwidth when you do play a video or something like that, or get lessons, just like AI. And I think the AI solution will be more personalized and customized to you, to remember you when you, hey, welcome back. Did you try doing those options after the last class? Like, I can imagine it actually asking you what you tried did you apply some of those lessons? What happened? Kind of a thing. And it'll take that intelligence and literally having an AI assistant for each individual person who joins Service MVP. That's what I kind of see the future right now. And of course, there's going to be some solutions that's why I got to stay close to Bill Brown from Service Titan Hacks, because he doesn't just hack Service Titan, he hacks the entire internet. This dude, you're on top of it. I should be counting on you to make sure. We should have like a weekly meeting, Bill, so you can keep me up to date on everything. So, because there's solutions that I'm imagining solutions, and I'm sure you are too. And you and I are kind of built on the same wavelength, where it's like, I'm not happy with what I have now, no matter how good it is. I'm always looking for something just a little bit better to make sure that I could find the sharpest thing that's going to be working for me. So I know we're both like, we're never satisfied with even things that are working good, No,
always looking for new solutions, just like I was looking for the best contactor that you could put in an air conditioner, right? So, all right, let's think about this. So you have thousands and thousands of articles, videos, and material that Service MVP has, and you can take that and upload and index all of that to an AI, and then you can so it would be able to search that dynamically through the AI assistant. Then you could upload your voice to 11 labs that would clone your voice, so you're actually coaching the person. And then you could use something like HeyGen or Descript to create the videos in real time for the people. So it would be like you having a Zoom call with the client, with that individual technician, and it would look and sound and behave just like you. They wouldn't notice the difference between Joe doing it. And then it's infinitely scalable, right? Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to drop the link for the OptionBuilder AI website. As far as that goes, is it something like where you get on a waiting list, or do you have demos available yet? Or
we would just you sign up for it. You could sign up and use it immediately, but then to get the training on what to do with it, we just make sure everybody knows how to use it properly at this phase, because it is a pretty new build, and the concept was proven around first part of August that it can be used by people in the field to success. So we have a lot of like one-man companies we started with to say, hey, we know this guy can't do anything. Let's give some dude who I have a guy named Muddy Mike's Plumbing in New Jersey. That single man company. He's like, holy crap! I'm averaging $4,000 for every plumbing call now. Yeah. He was getting $450 a call before. Now he's averaging $4,000 a call. So he's like, can't believe I'm making that much on a call. I never would have thought people would have bought this stuff. It would have taken me 2 years to train a guy like that what to do. Mm-hmm. So the OptionBuilder, if nothing else, was a great training tool. So even if you got it only as a training tool, I think for your team, that would be a great thing to use it that way. Of course, we need to get it. The APIs with ServiceTitan, where ServiceTitan has a pause on the API integrations right now because they're busy with their head down on their own AI stuff. But bottom line is we're trying to get the AI API for our solution in there. That's what the Field Pro thing starts with, that for us to get that done there too. So that's what we're doing right now. Make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody can use it and start. You can actually get an Apple store and buy it for $99 and use it immediately. It doesn't take any kind of training on it to get started. If you're kind of like you would need to get trained. You would just use it, Yeah. I know you'd figure it out in a few minutes, type of a thing after seeing it. But some people are like, wait a second, what do I do? Why does it ask for the customer's name? What difference does that make? Like the average guy would say that.
So they would want to go through your program. So your program, you had the week-long course. That's what my brother went to and my technicians went to. Do you still do those week-long courses where you bring in contractors from the area and you travel around, or are most of those going on Zoom today?
We do most of them. Every month we are dedicated to doing one in Culver City, California. But we also are doing one like in October in Minnesota. I now have a training facility open to me in Texas. Somebody has said, we can use our training. So one of the hardest parts is that the hotel fees to hold a conference like that have gone through the roof. That's why we had to stop doing the road stuff. We have to find a contractor or somebody who can get us a facility. So we do selectively, like in Minnesota, they're having it at a place. One of the contractors have volunteered, open up their training facility. So if you have a training facility in a certain area and you think we can draw other people to it, like in Boston, we have a place up there now we're looking at. So that's like the thing we need, is to have somebody to allow us to have a space to do the training, and then we would bring in the food and stuff like that ourselves. But we actually do that selectively with different partners around the country. Sure. Makes sense? We have one in San Antonio, for instance. Mr. Sparky franchise said, you can have our beautiful, they had a gigantic, beautiful, modern training room. We're going to do there next to the airport. So we're going to plan some stuff on that next year on that. So we do have selective locations like that where we have partners.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, that used to be the only way that you could train people, right? Either on the phone or in person. So now there's so many more contractors who get to learn from you and learn from ServiceMVP with today's technology. So I'm really excited to see the future, and I know that ServiceMVP and Joe Crisara will be on the leading edge of that. So I'm waiting for your virtual avatar app, but till then, I'll drop the ServiceMVP link in the podcast here. Also, a link to the OptionBuilder AI, and I'm really excited to see how that is. I mean, that's going to be great for contractors, man. This is going to be great.
Bill, as always, thank you so much for letting me be here. I really appreciate you.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you too.
Thanks for listening to the Home Service Hacks podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss a future episode. For more information or to connect with Bill, you can check us out on Facebook at Service Titan Hacks or visit our website at servicetitanhacks.com. We'll see you next time.